Hello, everybody.
Oh God, it's again.
Welcome to episode 23 of Gunning Around. We have no catchy rhetoric for this open line. No, we don't. Today we have a special guest, founding member of Project Mapleseed, CRPS, ORPS, and many more. I don't know. I just added that bit on the end because I figured it needed something.
You are something else.
So true. So true.
Sean's not here today, or he's not here right now anyway. But first, we're going to have a word from our sponsor and a few preliminary items before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show. So, Kurt, why don't you hit us off?
Indeed. Gunning Around is proudly bought. Jesus. Gunning Around.
You know, the John's there.
Anyway, we're here today brought to you by the letter J.
Gibberish? No, wait.
Yeah. Or other fitting things. Brought to you today by EM Precision Rifles, specializing in custom precision long range and extended long range rifles, offering all services in-house, including machining, cerakoting, and custom laser engraving. No need to source components yourself. EM Precision offers preferred pricing through many vendors, carrying every component required to get you to the range or into the field. Find Shane and the ruggedly handsome Steve on their website at emprifles.ca, as well as on Facebook and Instagram as EM Precision Rifles. Make sure to compliment Steve's boyish good looks, and you may get a discount.
No homo.
No. I love you, man.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So who are we? Who are we? Less one.
Oh, Sean isn't here, so I guess I'll go first. I'm not
All
used
right.
to that. I'm not used to being the first.
It's
I'm a journeyman
okay.
electrician, CCFR field officer, VP of Regina Fish and Game League, Project Mapleseed IT, firearms business owner, a shameless plug for M14 My Firearms, a sports shooter hunter, and a certifiable rifle loony.
Woo! All right, I'm Rooster, otherwise known. No, I don't care. Call me Rooster. I work in construction management. I'm a CCFR field officer, a lover of precision long-range shooting, a hunter, a hand loader. I mess around with wildcats, and lately it seems I tend to spend more time at the bench than I do in the field. Old guy, I'm not real good in the cold as much as I used to be anyways. This business with getting up Saturday morning and going, God damn it, I'm going to go to the range. Start packing up your stuff, and you think, okay, I'm going to look at the weather here. Go onto the phone and go,
Temperature, wind, wait.
I think I'm going to load today.
Today's a great day for hand loading.
Yes, sir.
So what's this year? A CCFR field officer? When did that happen?
Oh, geez. A little bit ago.
Is that a couple weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that. Oh, great.
We have fully indoctrinated Kurt into the CCFR lifestyle.
Doesn't take long, does it?
No, it sure doesn't.
The freaking
Nice.
cult.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you.
Rick, who are you? You can tell us a little blurb about yourself.
Yeah,
now.
so I'm Rick on Facebook. I'm Rick Antonio. I've been shooting actively probably 6 years, like heavy into it. And before that, I was just casual plinking. My brother actually got me into this by, hey, let's go out to the range. He just got his our pal, and said, let's go shoot some guns. And being a Filipino, guns is a integral part of our history.
Nice.
And so it's my dad always had guns in the house, so always wanted to get into it. I was reading the NRA Rifleman magazine since I was 12 years old, so I was always thinking about putting my dream kit together. And then finally, I listened to a podcast, Modern Rifleman Radio, with Ryan Stacy talking about this weird thing called service conditions. Said, hey, this sounds pretty awesome. How do I get into this, right? So then I started looking around for ways to get into shooting, and there was nothing out there. Then I heard about Project Appleseed in the States, and then I heard that one of them was going to happen. I think somebody in Bancroft, Ontario, brought like 3 instructors up from New York to have what was then the first Mapleseed about 5-6 years ago now.
Wow!
And then I attended that, and that's where I met my fellow co-founders. And really that was my intro into education, learning about how to shoot, fundamentals. And then I started working my way through, started CQB and then IPSC, and then got into service conditions, shooting at the national level at the National Service Conditions Championships for a couple of years. Got to shoot with some of the best riflemen in the country, which was awesome experience, both in all three, in pistol, semi-auto, and then bolt action precision. So that was a humbling experience. It was awesome.
I bet.
Yeah, it was good. It was amazing. Got to meet all of the guys and figured out what they were doing better than me, which was just mental management. Those guys were steely-eyed MFers, man. They just knew their shit. They were locked down.
You can actually say those words.
Oh, can you hear? Okay, that's good. Awesome.
Yeah.
They were badass. It was awesome. It was good. I learned a shit ton. I'd love to get back. And then I got involved with Project Mapleseed because, hey, if I need it, other people in Canada need it. So the people that I met at that very first Mapleseed became the co-founders with me, or I became co-founders with them. And I tagged along for the ride, and it's been a wild ride. In the last 4 years, I guess we've been heavily hitting the circuit. So it's been super. So that's my background. So now I'm part of that organization, Project Mapleseed, and then as an extension of that, started up CRPS, which is a Canadian Rimfire Precision Series, which is where do you go once you learn your fundamentals? You put it to the test, right? So now we take that rimfire rifle platform and put it between 100 and 350, sometimes 400 meters, to see if you can engage targets out to that far in various tricky positions with the ever-changing conditions that is so part of Canada. So it's been awesome. So that's our third year in CRPS and fourth year in Project Mapleseed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been good. And John's drank from the Kool-Aid, so he's on board. He's one of the instructors in training. And I think we've had about 100 events so far since the very beginning, and instructed over 1,200 Canadians in civilian marksmanship, positional fundamentals. Yeah. The first year, it's funny. The first year we said, okay, let's not go crazy. Let's just do 4. We ended up doing 25 that year. and the CCFR was a huge part of that enablement. We were talking about enablers before. They helped fund that whole expansion from, it was going to be 4 events in the Kingston, Ontario, to all the way out to, Western Canada and Eastern Canada, and the rest is history. So now we're planning to have 100 events this year, from coast to coast, from Vancouver Island all the way to Newfoundland.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I've got to meet so many amazing people across the country, amazing ranges, some breathtaking scenery.
Yes, no,
and I also got to meet Canada, and I got to meet John also.
Yeah, that was probably the hype.
Yeah, never forget that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm still taking medication and seeing therapists.
We should address a few things here. Sorry, John.
Sure. Before we get too far to the main topic, before we get there,
Francois says, "Can I mail a barrel to them?" What are you talking about, Francois? Is that
about EM precision?
That's what I thought. And yes, you can.
Yes, they accept shipping things.
You know what, Francois? I think you have my phone number. Send me a text, and I can give you EM Precision's address to send that barrel to.
Yeah. Oh, did you see that post that EM Precision put on the Facebooks about they have an action and a barrel and a stock, and they're like, your 6 mil build is ready to go.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
6 mil. I noticed they did not say 243 Ackley. I'm out. That's
they also didn't say 6 Creedmoor.
No, because who's going to shoot 6 man bun, right? So
you guys are so bad.
We're petty children. We're okay with it. Just like being creepy old men. We're okay with it.
That's right. And it's obvious that we've been drinking. But Kurt, what are you drinking tonight?
You know what? I am drinking something I haven't had in a very long time, and man, is it good? Or at least I think it's good. The Crown Royal Northern Harvest.
Back to the basics.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Patriotism at its best.
Yes, sir.
I'm on Rig Hand Brum, sponsored by EM Precision Rifles.
Well, good for you.
Yeah,
I'm not.
No, I'm not sharing.
Yeah,
and I'm drinking it with the highest quality diet caffeine-free cola because
you shouldn't drink that diet shit, man. It's gonna kill you.
Well, It's all my wife buys because that's all she wants to drink, and I'm more of a Dr. Pepper fan, and you can't put pepper in rum. Sorry, it just does not work.
Can't. No.
There's
Great.
there's a certain time of night that Dr. Pepper and rum will happen.
Yeah, when everything else is gone from the fridge, and that's all there's
Like
left.
chocolate milk and gin will happen at the same time.
That's right.
Just
right.
once. Yeah.
Sour puss and ginger ale.
Mhm. Good.
What are you on tonight, Rick? What are you sucking?
I
on
am
tonight?
drinking Lafroig Quarter Cask. It's a special deal that my brother-in-law gave me for some help I gave him. So very appreciative of that. So it's so if you don't know Lafroig, it's a Scotch whiskey that's very peaty, so very smoky. Yeah, it's like drinking a peat fire, I guess.
Oh,
Yeah. So if you like peat, it's pretty good.
nice. So we'd like to love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Visit us on facebook.com/gunningaround and leave a review. You can also email the show at info@gunningaround.com. Without your feedback, how can we possibly improve? We have an awesome website, gunningaround.com. Please leave a review on iTunes, and you can get all the stars. We want all the stars, not 2 or 3 or 4. We want all of them. And Kurt likes the gold stars, so those are really handy. And stickers. And
Taste of stickers.
Taste of stickers. That leads us to the next.
I like licking stamps and stuff.
Maybe I've had too much
Lead
rum.
paint.
Anyways, that leads us to our next big announcement.
All right, our sticker draw. Gunning Around is having a sticker draw to help us get to TACOM this year. If you haven't tuned in to previous episodes, we've covered this. We'll say it again. Where the hell is he going? Buy a sticker for $15 and you'll be entered into our Mapleseed inspired giveaway, which is a Ruger 1022 with a scope and a sling.
Nice.
The sticker draw is sponsored by TNT Gunworks in Regina, Saskatchewan. Stay tuned to the show and our updates on Facebook and Instagram. The draw will be live streamed on Facebook and YouTube Saturday, March 28th, during our regular broadcast.
So it's kind of fitting that Rick's here, but this camera is brutal. This is the handsome carry case.
Is it the camera?
That's awesome.
Just a second. I got it's a Ruger Black Ruger. Damn it! What? This thing's packed in here. I should have prepped this a little better.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I've been married for over 20 years. There's no
Oh man.
she told. That's all there is to it. It's plain black plastic 1022.
It's synthetic, John, not plastic. It's synthetic.
It's plastic. As you can see, it's a fine quality firearm. Comes with a 3-9 rimfire scope. It's a Weaver.
Nice.
And it also comes with this bespoke, handmade by myself and Mrs. Sean, Sarah. She did the sewing on the buckle part. I watched Adriel's video on the Hunting Gear Guys video on how to make an maple split sling. And so I've made a bunch of them, and I figured we would throw one in on for this particular rifle draw. So this is the rifle you will actually win if you are the
setup.
And this is perfect as far as I was concerned. It came with sling swivel holes already in it. It's Mapleseed ready. It truly is, and I'm really happy that somebody's going to win this rifle. So,
and you know what
bespoke means?
Handmade.
Bespoke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Custom.
Handmade.
Custom tailored.
Custom tailored. Bespoke.
You know those 1022s? Like before I got into Mapleseed, I kind of looked down on those 1022s as just random factory made. But you know what? We've had 6 or 8 loaner rifles in the program from year 1, donated by Korth Group, and they've been running like a champ. It's probably got 120,000 rounds through them. I mean, you wear out extractors, but those things will hold, 1 MOA, sub MOA. It's amazing. Yeah. Like most people. Right. So the biggest problem about those rifles is people don't choose the right ammo for that rifle. If you take the time and try 5 or 6 different brands, you can get some phenomenal performance out of those things. And without any mods. I mean, common mod is to add an auto bolt release, and then change the trigger, and then you're good to go, man. Those things are awesome rifles. Nowadays, someone asks me if your budget's under $200, get a Marlin 795. It's above that, get a Ruger 1022.
Well, and this rifle, this package is actually a Ruger factory package.
Right?
It comes with a Weaver scope.
Nice.
And it's they actually have two models. This is the carbine one, and they actually have one that's it's a little bit cheaper, and it's in that just shy of $400 range for the just cheaper package. This one retails for about $600, and it's set up. It's ready to go, bore sighted. Nice. One thing you're going to have to do to it, if the winner wants me to do it, I'll do it for them. But that's the auto bolt release, and that's the only thing that needs to be done to this thing. So they're absolutely phenomenal little. And I'm a 1022 whore. I'll be honest with you. I've got everything from this is a rifle I put together last year after doing Mapleseed last year. A lot of guys were running these Magpul stocks, and I really liked it. So I figured, if I'm going to go through all the trouble of making another 1022, but I've got my Mapleseed rifle. My go-to rifle is a 1022 Deluxe, and that's the walnut stock. And I've loaned it out to 5 different competitors at Mapleseeds, and 4 of them have scored riflemen with my rifle. So that makes me feel happy thoughts. Anyways,
I hope that includes you too, John.
What's that?
That includes you too.
Well, no, I would be the other rifleman patch attached to that rifle.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
What is that scope? Luke's asking, what is that scope?
It's a Weaver.
Okay.
It's a Weaver 3-9 rim fire.
Yeah. And why is a rim fire? Why is that rim fire? Tag important.
That designation, yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well, it has to do with the parallax of where the scope is naturally going to focus, without having to do too much trouble. If you put like a standard 3-9 hunting style for a centerfire rifle scope on a rimfire, you'll notice that at 25 yards or 25 meters, your target's never going to focus no matter how much you turn it down. Rimfire scope like this one on here, its natural point of focus is going to be in that 25 to 50 yard range. So I figured that was very important when it came to a Mapleseed rifle. If you're building or if you're going to get a rifle for Mapleseed, make sure it's got a rimfire scope on it so that it's not you're not looking at a blurry target. There's nothing worse than trying to figure out where you're aiming. Fundamentals all come into play, but if you aim small, you seem to miss small. And if you can't see what you're aiming at, then you're done, right? It's game over. You're never gonna...
And one trick, if you do find yourself not being able to get a clear target focus, is back down on the magnification. If you back it down to 3 or 4, it'll snap back into focus. So that's a good way to
okay, we gotta address this one. I'm sorry.
Sure.
You see that on the screen there, Steve?
Oh, don't have to draw to shave Kurt. I'll donate the labor on a rifle build to the winner.
Well, I'm sorry to everybody listening, but you're not going to get a rifle build. That is not. You want
tickets? Tickets are $100, and there's one ticket, and I'm doing it.
Imagine a plucked chicken's ass.
Yeah.
There is no way. Aside from a couple of months in the oil patch, this face hasn't been bare since I was 17 fucking years old.
Hey,
and
Kurt,
that's a long time ago.
Kurt, we know what you are. We're just haggling over price at this point.
You son of a bitch.
So Yanti Vasquez says no, and I'm assuming
there you go. She would kick me out, man. There's nothing else to me other than the beard itself. That's the reason she fell in love with me. The beard.
That's right.
If I shaved it, she'd be like, "Get out, intruder! Get out!"
Hey, does your beard's Instagram account have more followers than you?
It might.
That's when you know it's the beard.
Right. Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
So we should probably plug TNT Gunworks here. They're the ones who supplied that rifle for the draw.
Yes, sir.
It's TNT Gunworks in your local gun store in the Regina area since 1989. TNT is a full-service retailer with a full-time gunsmith on staff, repairing all makes and models of firearms, doing custom pistol and rifle work and hot bluing. Your one-stop shop for firearms, ammunition, reloading supplies, and those hard-to-find parts for Grandpa's Cooey. New and used guns bought and sold, including trades and consignments. Check them out at tntgunworks.com.
You can also buy John's old M305s there.
That's right. Yeah, every once in a while.
Hey, Kurt, those are bespoke rifles.
That's right. Yeah. Handmade, right?
Handmade.
Yeah. I've removed the spokes from all those rifles.
All right.
We got any feedback this week, Kurt, or no?
0. I'm like, what are we doing wrong?
Man, our listeners are awesome.
Right. Is that because we address everything during the show that nobody actually has anything to say?
Yeah.
Maybe we should just turn off the live feed so that we don't see any of the comments, and then people can just send us emails, and we could get like 55 emails during the show instead. No, let's not do that.
Listen, I have a hard enough time spelling. And my 13 words a minute typing, we can't possibly do that.
You guys.
All right. You can check out the podcast on facebook.com/gunningaround. We post and share various news articles and stories relevant to firearms in Canada and around the world. Sort of, kind of. The pod is available on Apple Podcasts app, Google Play, Stitchers, and YouTube, and many other places you find your podcasts. Sponsor ad. John, you want to do your own?
Serving the Canadian gun industry since 2016, M14 is an M14 pattern rifles as well as Garand rifles. This is your one-stop shop for all your M14 gun plumber needs. If he doesn't do it, you know someone who does.
All right.
You're so sweet, John.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Silky smooth, man.
So hold on a second. We got a comment from Francois that must be addressed. It's almost Rooster has up well.
What is behind me? You're making me nervous here. What'd I do?
Just go grab that M14 and show it off. You've got.
All right. 35 seconds. All right.
That's a one-of-a-kind limited edition, isn't it, John?
Spoke.
Well, part of it is.
She's a beaut.
Yes.
She's a beaut. Don't you have to have white gloves when you handle that thing?
No, not here.
Okay.
I've gone to nitrile lately. So it's funny, we were talking about this before the show. This rifle, before John and I actually knew each other, I bought it from TNT Gunworks in Regina. It's an 07 Norinco. And turns out that John used to own this thing. And we were talking about how well it shot. This was his first attempt at tuning an M14 pattern rifle. And man, it's always shot really well. And then when Wolverine had all those IDF kits, John and I thought it would be a good idea to get a bunch of those kits. And
I'm an enabler going way back. That's my MO.
Rebuild that rifle with a heavy barrel kit, and it shoots, well, just as good as it did before, just with different parts.
There you go.
I think it shoots a little bit better, but marginally. That sucker on a good day will shoot under an inch with 168 Match Kings, my hand loads.
Nice.
And a little bit surprisingly, the Hertenberger stuff, I think it's 147s, isn't it?
Yeah.
147 FMJ
will shoot just a little bit bigger than that. I think it creeps just over an inch. And that's a good day. With that thing, with irons, I've got an 18-inch square plate hanging at 611 yards. And I'm about, with my eyes, I'm about 20% hit percentage with that.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good for me.
That's pretty good.
A better shooter could do better, I'm sure. But it tends to dance. Like it seems to hold vertical, but it goes side to side. For me,
that's you.
That absolutely, it's probably me.
You,
Especially
taking
if
a
you-
Mapleseed.
What's that? Sorry. Yeah.
Taking a Mapleseed.
Yes,
Does-
sir. There's no question. No question.
Has
Anyway,
your audience
that's-
been indoctrinated into the Mapleseed lore, John? Have you already been speaking about Mapleseed before?
Oh, I mention it at every show, but I don't, go deeply into it.
Okay.
Not as balls deep as we're going to go into it tonight.
Shine boots and white gloves.
Wait, is that the show title?
I meant to do that.
Absolutely.
Oh my god!
Yeah. The only
How do I
time I'm
change that?
ever going to have shine boots and white gloves is at my fucking funeral. I'll tell you that right now. I tried dressing up a couple of times and got sent down an aisle in a fucking church, and that didn't work out well for me.
Oh, man.
Never
Oh,
doing
my
that again.
He doesn't like pretty Yen says. That's awesome.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
good job, Yen.
No, you're right about that. Steve could Cerakote that thing and make real pretty. No. Don't you guys know? Don't you remember Mr. Utility?
Yeah, that's right.
Look at my truck. It's a fucking truck.
Yeah.
These things are tools.
That's right.
That's right.
I'm in the same boat.
So
Good
back to why we're giving away that rifle. We have a special run of stickers we made up that say "Aim, Breathe, Press" on them, which I think they're pretty much awesome as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
And the reason why we decided that we need to do this little fundraiser is to try and get us to TACOM.
Yep.
We've been invited to TACOM this year, and that's TACOM 2020, September 11th to the 13th. The Canadian Pro Gun Podcasters Network will be in attendance at the TACOM 2020. Your favorite podcast will be on hand throughout the show, so make sure you stop by the booth to meet your favorites and pick up some
You're doing
pick
good.
up some swag, or while we do our special live broadcast, we'll be taking an event or talking to event organizers, guest speakers, and vendors all about their new and must-have products. You can see details for the show at tacomcanada.com and stay tuned for ticket release details. And we have an affiliate link where if you buy a pre-sale ticket for the show, we get $1. And so we're going to have that up on the
website.
I'm not sure if it's on the website or not, but it will be in the podcast show notes if/when Sean ever comes back from his family outing,
Right.
and then puts up podcasts and everything. So podcasters, there's a lot of podcasters that are going to be at our booth. We got Canadian Patriot Podcast, Canadian Prepper Podcast, Lawnfire Radio, CCFR Radio, New Shooter Canada, the Five Like Guys, Silver Core Podcast, and the Straight Shooter Podcast. Apparently, will all be there. So tons of fun. It'll be good. So, do you guys just want to go right into the main topic here, or what?
Let's do it.
Okay, Rick, this is your time to shine, baby. Your time to shine.
I got performance anxiety, guys. Just like putting myself through school.
Okay, so we've already kind of gone through the whole Mapleseed, how it kind of got started, I guess. You and your co-founders taking that course out east and everything. Tell us. So now you're involved in Mapleseed, CRPS, and ORPS.
Yeah.
So why don't you start where you want to start and finish where you want to finish, but tell us about all those things.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is you've already mentioned Project Mapleseed. Project Mapleseed is civilian marksmanship fundamentals instruction, right? That's really, the way I got into it was I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. You had YouTube University, and you had Buddy at the bench next to you giving you pointers, right? But there was nobody that really broke down all the layered approach to building a solid position and the shooting skills and the 6 steps of finding the perfect shot, which really this is a program that Project Appleseed developed, and they kindly shared with us, and we went down one fateful January in this big 2-week road trip down to Waco, Texas, to go through an Appleseed boot camp, where we sat there for X number of days and soaked it all in. And on the way down, on the way up, we formulated the Canadian Mapleseed program, and that's kind of where it was born. And for me, it's what clicked. It finally showed me what I had to work on, and I used the drills and I used the fundamentals to kind of build on that platform to get me to the national level of competition. And that's what's important, is like what you're doing wrong and what you need to do to fix it, which is so much more than just pulling the trigger, blowing 100 rounds of ammo, saying it looks smaller than last week, right?
Yeah.
And which
That's right.
we're all just fooling ourselves. We're just turning what we always say, we're just turning money into noise. And then that's pretty much what we want to avoid. Let's break it down. Let's say build a solid position, understand your 6 steps of finding the perfect shot, and then build the natural point of aim. And we've been delivering that year over year. Now we're 1,200 people that we've instructed, and including you, John, one of them that we were at, I guess, last year, 2 years ago in Regina. So, and the thing for us is, we're evolving. Now we've got regional instructor shoot bosses in the major areas of, West, Central, and East. So now we've got the program growing. So now we're going to have 100 events from what I said was first year was going to be 4. We turned it into 25. Now it's 100 events this year. Well, hopefully with what's going on this year, we don't know exactly how many, but our intent is to have 100 events and really just help people learn the fundamentals, because there's that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are local ranges and local clubs that are teaching kids fundamentals, but when I Googled it, there was nothing available, right? So you had to figure it out on your own, and just clicked for me, and that's what that said. You know what, we need to do something. Well, let's get together and figure out how we can take this across Canada for whatever reason, because we didn't like free time or spending time with our families. So that's it. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and it's a one day drinking from the fire hose, and you get breaking down. We tell you something, and you try and put it into practice, and we correct, and we teach you something else, and just that layered approach. It works for 60 to 70 to 80%. It's a hard day. It's a hard day. You put about
there.
You put like 250 to 350 rounds of ammo through. And a lot of people think that it's a 22 competition or a 22 event, but really people use 22s because what you learn with a 22, you'll apply to a 308 or a 338. It's just cheaper to shoot 300 rounds of 22 versus 338 or 300 Win Mag, right? But again, all the fundamentals that I learned with the 22, I apply to 223 or 308 or 6.5 Creed or 6.5, 6.5 by 4.7 Lapua. It's all there. It's all the same stuff, building a solid position and understanding how to pull the trigger properly.
So you talked earlier about the 6 steps for to find that perfect shot or that successful shot. You care to mention what those are? Sure.
I mean, some of it's basic. It's it's sight picture, sight alignment, respiratory pause. It's focusing on the front sight, keeping your front sight on the target. What was the other one? Number 6 is follow through, and then number 5 is trigger press. Trigger press is probably the most important. It's straight back, uninterrupted trigger press. You never yanking on the trigger. You want to break that trigger with enough weight just to break it, and not not an ounce or a gram more, right? It's if you move that rifle 1,000th of an inch, it'll move it an inch off the target at 100 yards. So it's basically just keeping that platform still. So we give you the drills and the exercises as you go through that process that kind of break it down and figure out when I do this is what's going to happen. But when I get it right, it's heaven. It's like, golf is one of those frustrating games. If you ever played golf, it's that one great shot keeps you coming back every weekend for hopefully to getting that same shot. I suck at golf, but that one
to use the
great
club
shot
for different things.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, but that's the whole point, and that's the drill. That's the Mapleseed mantra. And again, we didn't invent it. It's not the only thing out there, but it's one that works. So why not start with something that works and then explore? There's many great teachers out there that can take you to the next step. But what we find that there's no national fundamental training program available. And for me, Project Mapleseed filled that niche, and certainly it's, I put into practice what I learned, and it was enough to get me to top 10 nationally. So.
Well, one thing my first Mapleseed, I knew how to use a sling, like a 1903 sling, because I'd found something on the internet that told me how. And actually, Kurt was the reason why I started shooting out further than like 300 yards, because that was as far as I really had available to me. And when I went to Mapleseed, I was going to get my patch, and I had this in my mind that I already knew how to shoot. I was going to get my patch, and I was going to have this awesome patch. And it's actually become one of my more prized possessions, this patch. And I went in with an open mind that they're going to teach me something, but for the most part, they were just going to put those good habits back into practice, or solidify those good things in my mind. And there's a lot of things that I didn't know or didn't realize I knew until I was told them. Right? Just so many different things that I learned that I thought I knew that I didn't know. And I was a fairly accomplished shot before I went to Mapleseed. Like I'd made a cold bore at 1050 at that point, 1,050 yards with a 6 mil. Like I knew how to shoot. Like I knew how to, set up my rifle on bags and use my rear bag properly. And I knew about where to breathe and where to release the shot and trigger press, all that kind of thing. But putting it all together the way they did at Mapleseed was just something that just completely, it kind of revolutionized the way I shoot a little bit. And the one thing I didn't realize going into it was how much information, and like even as an instructor now, I've been an instructor now for a year, basically. I went last year. I think I did 5 events last year as an instructor in training. And I still don't have my instructor patch, and I'm not sure I'll get it this year either, for that matter. But was how much information I missed the first time around going to a second event as an instructor, third event, fourth event, fifth
Absolutely.
event. And every event I go to, I'm picking up something else that I missed the first time around, because the sheer amount of information they're throwing at you it's a lot. Of like Rick said, it's drinking from a fire hose, right? You're going to get some, you're going to fill up your mouth, but you're not going to catch all the information as it comes at you.
And Project Appleseed does the same instruction program over 2 days, which is nice, but we just didn't have that time, or we didn't think Canadians would have 2 days to give to marksmanship instruction. That was a big challenge. So we said, let's do one, and then we'll see where it goes. And if we need to change, we'll change it over time. But certainly there's a lot. And we always suggest, even if you got your patch, come to a second one, come to a third one, because you only hear 80% of what we say. You're only able to remember 40%. You're only able to apply 20% of what you remember. So that's why we say, get together as a group, a group of 5 people. We'll be able to remember enough of the whole event to be able to apply it and be able to self-correct. But yeah, it's worked for a lot of people. Again, it's nothing revolutionary. Basically, it's based on the U.S. Army marksmanship program, right? That's how they trained World War II. And if you know the history of our course of fire, where we have, fire 2 reload with 8, it's based on the M1 Garand, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of the lore behind the mag changes in the course of fire.
So what are the progressions through Mapleseed, like how to get to instructor and all that kind of stuff?
I mean,
what's the criteria and everything?
Yeah. So the first thing is, the first thing to be the first entry, before we even talk to you, is you've got to score rifleman, which is basically 80%, scoring a 210 out of a possible 250. That's the first thing. So if you can't walk the walk, we're not going to expect you to talk the talk. Yeah. That's the first one. And then the second one is you've got to be able to pass a background check of the local police. And then have a sensitive areas screening, because you are working with young people. We want to make sure that the instructors we put on the line will pass all those necessary verifications. And also the third most important one is, what's your attitude? Why are you getting into this? Is because you want to just talk to people, or because you genuinely want to serve and help people develop? Because there's a few, everyone's got a different reason of wanting to teach, right? Whether you want to hear yourself talk or you want people to learn. Those are the two different personas.
Yeah, that's big, man.
Yeah. And especially when you deal with the firearms world, there's a lot of guys that like to, you're using a bioxygen.
Buffers,
exactly. And I'm not saying that it's not good, but it's if you're only there to hear yourself talk, then you're not really listening to people and helping them develop. Amen. Our goal, and the reason why I wanted to join the organization was the amazing people that would welcome me into that organization with Kevin, Mario, and Stacy. Those guys are phenomenal people that they've got their heads screwed on straight, and they genuinely want to serve the community. And I thought, you know what, I could learn a lot from these guys, and I signed up, and I wasn't disappointed. They are amazing leaders, and the amount of effort they put into the program is staggering, right? It's like having a second and third job, because you work your day job.
There's no question, yeah.
And you do that, and then it's awe-inspiring. So it's pretty good. I've learned a lot. I'd like to say I've grown as a human being as well. My wife will disagree, but I think I have. Small steps, small steps.
Mostly out in the section area you've grown.
Yeah. No, but it's been great. I mean, I like I said, the ARPA, it's a nonprofit volunteer run organization. Nobody gets paid. We're compensated for the gas we burn, the food we eat, and the hotels we stay at, but we're unpaid, and it's purely voluntary. So that's, if you're in for the money, this ain't the job for you. But you get to meet, I've been to some phenomenal places. I've met hundreds of interesting people. So it's been rewarding. Yeah. And John, I met John as well.
Yeah, well, he's a class.
High point there. High point there.
You can't beat that.
Well done.
Okay, so go ahead, Kurt.
Well, I was just wondering now, what's on everybody's mind, I'm sure, this COVID-19 bullshit.
Yeah.
How is this going to affect your campaign this year?
Well, I mean, obviously we've already canceled our March 28th. So like I said, our instructors in training, we've got regional shoot bosses. So a shoot boss is basically someone regionally who can run the event. So we've got Adriel Michaud, the hunting gear guy, also went through the Mapleseed program 2 years ago, and he got his shoot boss status last year. And he's basically in charge of the Alberta region, Edmonton area. He had a shoot and instructor boot camp scheduled for the 28th of March. So we've canceled that, saying, you know what, we're just not ready. We just don't feel comfortable because the risk is just so high. We all know someone elderly. We know someone, me personally, I know, 3 people in my immediate family with compromised immune systems, that it's not worth the risk. Right. So for now, we're just waiting and seeing on what the season's going to look like. But again, it's not never, it's just not now is kind of what we're saying. And when the dust settles and we know more about it, and when we feel it's safe for both participants and instructors to participate, we don't bring any risk to our immediate families or anybody we interact with, then we'll resume. Like I said, the 100 event count is something we planned, last year, but if it's 25 or 20 or 5, so be it. But the goal is, if you never quit, then you'll eventually win, right? That's the goal.
Mm-hmm. I imagine it varies widely, but what sort of crowds do you get at your events? Yeah, we limit it. It varies between 10 and 15, depending on the number of instructors. We like to have a 1-3, 1-4, 1-2 ratio, just because the reason why people go there is to help me become a better shooter. And you can't do that by just sitting in a pulpit and kind of preaching and saying, everyone do this, everyone do that, because I never learned how to dance, and all those instructional videos on Pornhub never helped me develop a better attitude and style. So you need someone helping you walk through all that, step by step, and saying, hey, your hand position, your sling position isn't wrong, or your cheek weld isn't good, or hey, you know what, I noticed that you're taking your eye off the scope when you're cycling that bolt. All that stuff is kind of just, you got to get down on the ground with them, and that's what we do. We get down on the ground, we sit them, and we watch them. We're watching, we're watching your body positioning first. We watch how you're yanking that trigger. Yeah, that's huge, man. Like I have small kids. Like I have a 19-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, and an 11-year-old son, and especially with the younger guys, with baseball and hockey, you tell a kid what they're doing or what they're doing wrong, things to improve on, all that kind of stuff. You can tell them from here till Sunday, and they won't necessarily understand them. I've done a lot of visual. Yes, absolutely. Kids throwing the ball or batting, all that kind of stuff. They have no idea really what they're doing. They have this picture in their mind what they're doing. And I think I'm doing it right. I think I'm doing all I can to be successful. But that's all I know. You video those kids and their eyes. You should see them. Absolutely. And I'm sure you've seen the same thing, Rick.
Look at what happened at ours in Regina, John. Those kids on the end that were beside Spencer there, they almost got their junior rifleman just based on the one-on-one coaching from Darren and Chris. Sorry, Chris.
We were really lucky here in Regina when we had our event last year. Sean unfortunately didn't quite get there. He had some scope issues. I'm going to say he had some scope issues.
Okay, I've got to clarify.
Fell off his rifle, but whatever. But he's right. There's a couple kids in that, and if you limit your class size, you have enough instructors to be able to cover the field, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, our first objective is safety, right? Because we don't know where people come from, what their experience level is. Our first and foremost objective is safety. So we've got line safety officers on both ends, and the line boss basically watching that the muzzles are straight down the line or straight up, and that they're not going to be sweeping anybody. That's the first job. Right after that, once we're comfortable that they know what they're doing, then we can focus on working through the fundamentals to get them on target. And because we do point of instruction, then we do 5 shots, we can show them, hey, I know you know what you know, but listen to what we're telling you, and we'll show you that it's going to make a difference on your target downrange.
Like
Even
a
5
prime
shots.
example is NPOA.
Oh, yeah.
NPOA, it just that blew my mind.
Don't tell them, Sean. Don't tell them.
that's the secret.
Secret sauce. Man. That's the whipped cream on top of that pumpkin pie.
yeah.
First, we work on solid positioning, then we work on the 6 steps of firing the shot, and then you can apply that little whipped cream on top called natural point of aim.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's it. The three fundamentals that we teach are those 3. And again, I just want to say we didn't invent it. It's something that Project Appleseed's been preaching. They do about 1,000 events a year. They teach over 10,000 people annually in civilian marksmanship, and then they're tied with a civilian marksmanship program there, and the Revolutionary War Veterans of America. They have an amazing program across the country, and we're just happy that they let us take that and bring it and spread it around in Canada
build on it.
Build on it, exactly.
How long have they been doing it versus how long has it been in Canada? There's
probably, I want to say 12 years at least, or 9 or 12 years. I know that Stacy's one of our co-founders. Is actually one of the national administrators for Project Appleseed. So she's gonna be sending me texts right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's at least
I don't
been a
think she
decade.
listens to the podcast.
Well, if I'm honest, she's definitely not going to listen to it. But yeah, I think it's going to be about 12 years since they started, and they're up to 10,000. I mean, can you imagine 10,000 people just getting fundamental, at least the opportunity to participate in fundamentals?
Yeah.
How often are you invited to a fundamentals course in marksmanship, right?
Yeah.
It's non-existent, and hopefully through IITs like John and shoot bosses like Adriel and Ryan Beatums in Saskatchewan and Andrew Nuri and Darren Ostapowicz in BC, it's going to start spreading. Again, we always say like we're the spark, but they're the fuel that's going to keep this fire burning. So that's the goal. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
So I got a question for you, Rick. Before we, sorry, Kurt, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No.
So Appleseed has a history point, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So when are we going to start seeing that come into the Mapleseed?
And that's been one that we've been agonizing over, is when do we introduce a 2-day Mapleseed with, the historic figures in Canadian marksmanship, right? And that's really, we tried the first year, but we just couldn't swing it, because when people said, hey, how many of you, like at the end of the day, we said, how many of you would have signed up for a 2-day? And they said, it's probably 10%. So I don't know, maybe when we get to the point where we've got enough regional shoot bosses that we can have those extendeds. We can talk about all the historical figures of, why is marksmanship important? What are the historical figures of marksmen in the Canadian history, right? Because we've got some amazing history, right? Yeah. And it's about the historical right to firearms ownership. And again, it's not about, we need to have it. It's just, it's there. It's a natural part of our history. We have among the greatest amount of natural resources available to us. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of it? And now with COVID, and who knows where it's going to go, the skills like that are going to be much more in demand.
Well, and you look at what people are trying to do to history lately. If people aren't talking about this kind of stuff, it's just going to get lost.
Exactly.
And that would be a shame, to be honest.
Yep. Well, you think about people now saying, well, hey, I want to buy a firearm now because the end of the world's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
You're too late, bud.
Yeah. Well, 6 to 9 months.
You got 6 to 9 months to your card. Yeah. Can't sell your gun till then.
Yeah. And again, for us, it's a sport. And that's what people don't understand. It's a sport. It's a martial art, just like karate, judo, kung fu. It's something you practice, something you're good at, and it's a perishable skill that if you don't work at it, you lose it. And it's for me, people find it weird. I say it is very relaxing for me to go to the range and try and shoot a perfect target. and they don't get that because it's a loud firearm. But really, it takes so much focus and dedication and practice to be better, right? And that's the fun part.
Even looking at the one day we did, it was 34 degrees, right, John?
Oh man,
it was hot as balls out,
right?
and we started at 7, right, or 7:30, didn't we?
Yeah.
To try and take advantage of the cool air, and we still didn't get out of there till 6.
Yeah.
And like that final MQT was tough. And like I'm a competition shooter, and like once that buzzer goes off, it's like I'm not super good at anything. I'm not even close. But once that buzzer goes off, or when you're timed, like one thing I need to do in my next MQT is just slow down, take those shots, and just breathe. Because like I'm thinking in my head, oh shit, I'm under the gun. I gotta, go. The clock's ticking, and then I'm done, and I'm like, oh, I got 30 seconds to kill.
Yeah.
It's like you're better off having that round left in the magazine than you are having a miss, right?
Yeah. You can't miss fast enough to score a good MQT.
That's right.
People tried. I've seen it.
Look at me.
The whole thing is like, probably 10% to 15% it's mechanical failure, and just shit happens. That's the reality of it. That's why we have loaner rifles ready. Number one, it's loose scope rings and loose base. That's the number one thing that gets people.
I found out the hard way.
And then the number two is ammo, just unreliable ammo. It just doesn't cycle in their firearm for whatever reason. And as much CLP as you put in, it ain't going to resuscitate that thing.
Yeah.
So just swap it out when you can, the minute you can. And I understand people have invested so much time and money to their perfect, Mapleseed rifle. But you know what? Just it's not about the rifle. It's about you,
Well, let's get deeper into equipment then.
Yeah.
Seems like a good time for that. John and I talked a little bit about it, and I'm much more a bolt guy than I am a semi-auto guy. So we had this discussion regarding rimfire.
Yep.
And I was kind of the same as what you were saying earlier, Rick, that I looked at 1022. I have one, and it was a little blaster, good for gophers and good for giggles, good for kids.
Yeah.
Right. And never really paid a whole lot of attention to it. Yeah, I got some entertainment out of taking my old Marlin with the peep sight out and trying to shoot as far as I could.
For sure.
Had some success that way. But I'm that if you're going to do anything substantial successfully, you got to have a bolt rifle.
You even look like Chris Kyle, man.
Jesus.
But
that's good or bad.
That's one thing. So doing what you love to do is one thing. But if you're learning fundamentals, it doesn't matter what platform, because fundamentals are fundamentals. True. What we want to try and do is get you to the point that you're not worrying about. So bolt action iron sights are the most difficult to score riflemen with. So if you want to score riflemen, don't start with that. If you want to be better with what you're running, then bring with what you want to run. So that's what I want to say. Like I ask people, so, if you want to improve, what do you want to improve on? Do you want to score the patch, or do you want to get better with your favorite platform? That's the most important thing. Because those are two different things, right?
In a way, it's like any other game, right?
Correct.
You can build a purpose-built thing to maximize your effectiveness to get the patch, or you can work with what you got, right? Like
exactly. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you can bring a tube-fed lever action, it doesn't matter to us. As long as it's reliable, as long as it doesn't get in the way of you absorbing the fundamental training that we're teaching you, have at it. It doesn't matter to me. But when equipment starts to let you down, it gets in your head. And that's what I see. People get frustrated and they end up fiddling with their scope rings more than they think about the fundamentals. And then I know I've lost them, that we're wasting their money, which I feel bad about, because the goal is to help you understand the fundamentals that are going to help you apply this to whatever platform you're going to use down the road. Right. So I say, you know what, if I could have a magic wand and say automatically turn everyone's high end whatever into a reliable semi-auto 597 1022, I would do it with a 2 to 7 scope, or a 1 to 8 scope, or a 1 to 6. I would do it, because then they can focus on, hey, everyone's running the same thing. Let's just work on what makes you a better shooter. Because I can guarantee you that all of you are going to perform differently, and it's not because of that rifle, right? So we'll just break it down. And but again, everyone comes into it with a different perspective. And especially for the guy that spent $3,000 on that carbon wrapped fiber barrel and the kid trigger and the Vortex razor scope.
Yeah.
And I'm not making fun of them. I think they've set an expectation that's potentially unrealistic based on me knowing what I'm going to put them through that day, or us. It's not me. There's 4 other guys that are there,
right?
Guys and gals that are putting them through the paces.
It's funny you talk about getting in your head. I've been a lifelong fastball pitcher, and I always get bugged about pitchers and goaltenders. A little bit special, right?
Yeah.
But I can
sure are, buddy.
I can tell you, I've played fastball at the top level in North America, and that mental game and any top tier sportsman, sportswoman, team, whatever, will tell you that that sports psychology is fucking massive.
It's huge. It's huge, and we do a little bit of that during the day. So I don't care about your result. I care about your progress.
Yeah, man.
Right. That's what we say. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Yeah. And we try and hammer that over and over again, because that's the most important thing. If I can get you 1% closer to a better group, then I've succeeded, because the rest is on you to practice. Because I'm not going to turn you into a master sniper in one course. Right. I'm gonna expose you to the fundamentals. You'll need to master to become a better shooter. That's the goal, right? And hopefully, maybe. And again, I don't care if you score a rifleman or not. If you go away with a smile on your face, knowing that that's the best group you've ever shot, I'm a happy guy.
You supply the tools, they take it home and put them to work, right? Yeah.
But more often than not, I'm spending more time with the folks that have unrealistic expectations. And again, they kind of get into their head that I already know. I'm just here to tell everyone else how good I am.
And you as an instructor, it's not your place in a Mapleseed course to break them down, right? It's kind of your way to guide them and be like, hey, we get it, we know you're good, but let us try and teach you something.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to learn more or not?
Are you here to improve, or are you here to turn money into noise?
That's right.
Are you coachable? Like, show up coachable. That's the big thing.
Teachable attitude is one of the big things from the Project Mapleseed doctrine. The most important thing you bring is a reliable platform and a teachable attitude. Mm-hmm. I can't fill a bag that's already full, right? If you don't think you can learn anything, then I've got nothing to offer you, or we've got nothing to offer you, right?
Well, I think you're a damn fool if you think you can't take something away from
and these courses are dirt cheap compared to what you get out of it. I personally, that's my impression, right? I think a full pop is going to be $75 for a full day of instruction with 300 rounds down range with all of the fundamentals, right? Typically, unless there's range views involved.
Where else do you get value like that?
You can get a free on YouTube University, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Good luck. But again, it's I'm a believer because I've gone through the process and I've applied the process and I've succeeded using that process. But really, it takes that mental management that people say, you know what, I'm here to learn. I'm not here to prove how good I am. I'm here to learn show you how well I can learn what you're showing. Yeah, and then it's a toolbox. Take the best and leave the rest. If you go away and say I'm going to throw out 99%, but I'm going to keep that 1%, perfect. I'm happy, right?
Yeah. Phil Steenberg says, "Stupid virus. I want to take the course."
Yes, no, we are equally frustrated. We are. It's good. It's going to be our biggest year ever. I think we have an awesome. I mean, we're going from Newfoundland all the way to Vancouver Island this year. That's our plan. And I think, given how late it's going to be, I think we still have that. It's more of the early season. And again, if we have to add stuff at the end of the season, that's not a problem. I mean,
imagine a December course. Mapleseed.
We have CRPS and ORPS courses all through the year, so it's okay. So the only problem is it's as long as you're dressed, you should be okay. It's just the fingers that are going to suffer, right? I mean, in the States they have the icicle patch, which is like the winter apple seeds. They have a special rifleman patch if you qualify in below zero conditions.
Oh.
Yeah, if I can find it, I'll show it to you because I did qualify during one of those events.
So I think we pretty much talked the heck out of Mapleseed here at this point. So One thing that you mentioned in our pre-show ramblings before we went live was that CRPS is kind of like the next logical step.
Yeah.
Once you've learned the fundamentals from Mapleseed, let's put this to use in a competitive environment, and I guess that's CRPS, right? So tell us about that, I guess.
So, again, I was one of I was graciously included in that group of people that started that Mapleseed. Then I was always looking for where do they go from there? Like once you get that Mapleseed and you got rifleman and you're fairly good, how do you really apply those skills to the next level? And I was getting into PRS at that point in time, so I had my 6x47 Lapua because it's a cool caliber, and now apparently the 647 Lapua is the better caliber, so I got to switch to that or 6.56 Creed. Whatever it is.
That's where it's at. That's where all the cool kids were shooting back in 1962.
But the interesting part is the lessons we teach about building a solid foundation, right? Solid shooting position applies to PRS. So how can I give someone that next opportunity? So a year after Mapleseed, I started up the Canadian Rimfire Precision Series, which is a national series that is meant to provide people across the country an opportunity to take that skill and apply it to the rimfire platform. What I'm finding now is we get a lot of new shooters, but we also get a lot of the center fire shooters saying, you know what, this is a cheaper way to enjoy what I love to do, and I don't have to do any brass prep, which we talked about earlier. I don't have to worry about hand load.
What the hell would I do with all my time then?
And 500 rounds only cost me like $100 at the most or whatever, right? So for me that made sense. And what we did was we basically took a course of fire. Perfect.
452.
So there you go. One of the standards. It's an open gun. One of the standards we said, well, let's take a 308 and say, well, how can we scale that to a 22? So basically, our CRPS, our Canadian Rimfire Precision Series matches, equate to a 308 match shooting out to 1,000, 1,200 yards. So we go from 100 meters to 300 meters. And we've got, 2-inch targets all the way to, full size IPSCs at 300, 350 meters to provide you with that, windage, elevation, and solid positioning. So we shoot it like a regular PRS match. There's 10 stages. You've got 120 seconds. We've got 2 divisions. One is production, which is platforms under $500 with optics under 700. So you got guys that want to shoot their Savage Mark IIs or their 1022s and get their feet wet. And again, we're very welcoming. We provide guidance and coaching for new shooters and production shooters, and all the youth shooters shoot free at our events just to get that demographic going. Nice. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's another challenge, right? And what I'm finding is it's not a cheaper sport. People just spend more on their optics and rifles.
Yeah.
So now we've got Voodoos and Deuces and Rimex, and people are spending $6,000 to $8,000 on their rig. But you've got guys that are having just as much fun with their Savage Mark IIs or their 1022s or their Marlin 795. It's amazing.
So how does the scoring work?
So it's hits on steel. So we place 1 to 5 steel targets for every stage, and you've got 1 point unless it's a KYL rack that we're putting out at 100, and you're just ringing steel just like a regular centerfire PRS match. Nice. So we'll tally it up, and it's what's nice about it? It's stress free, and guys keep coming up to me saying, this is the most fun I've had at a match in a long time because I don't have to worry about scrounging for brass at the end of the stage. So that's mine, that's yours. Where's my 243 Ackley?
They're arguing about A's versus C's versus D's.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still gonna put nail polish on all my cases.
There you go. It's binary. Did it ring? Did the indicator go off or not? And you move on. And we give the benefit of that. You can contest 1 or 2. Then after that, we know you.
So backing up, there's 1 to 5 targets per stage, ranging from 0 to 300 meters.
We typically start at minimum 75 meters.
Okay.
So typically we'll have a short, medium, and long stage, and then we'll have a KYL rack, a Know Your Limits rack, which is basically pucker time. So we'll give you 6 targets, and you got to hit each one sequentially. And if you miss one, you start over or you scrap the stage, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so it's like a hoot. It's on steel, so you don't have say a maximum round count on the stage. It's time and max round count. So we'll say typically 8, 10, or 12 rounds. Okay. So that's it. What you got loaded in your mags is what you got to bring. So it's fairly controlled. So you've got 8 rounds to make 8 hits. And
then is it 120 seconds for the entire
stage?
Just the stage? Oh wow.
So you got to get set up. So just like a Mapleseed, you got to get set up, gets comfortable. The ring steel transition to the next target. So sometimes you'll hit the target multiple times. Sometimes you got to go sequentially and then come back. And sometimes you got to change positions in between. So, I mean, we try and balance it out between stability of position, number of transitions, size of target, and then distance. So just like a regular center-fire match.
Wow, this sounds like a hoot.
It is a blast. Literally, it's a blast. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. I've registered for 2 events this year. So
it's going to be fun. Yeah. And we're split. By July, it should be okay. Again, that's another thing we're going to talk about, but we're optimistic. It's fun. I mean, if it gets delayed, we'll get delayed, but we will have a national event. I mean, typically I go out west for two months every summer. So I start from Manitoba all the way out to BC, and then I work my way back. And then we've got another team doing the East Coast after that in the fall.
We got to have one at your range, Kurt.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about that. We'll call it the field match.
Yeah.
What's your property called? Do you have a name
Roosters
for it?
Yeah.
Roosters Ranch.
Roosters Rifle Ranch, yeah. Unofficially.
Shootout at Rooster Ranch. There you go. Yeah. And if you can bring vehicles
Come get your chickens plucked.
Because the thing about private, so we have a combination of private ranges and formal CFO controlled ranges. So CFO controlled ranges, we have very strict discipline in terms of what barricades we can shoot off. Yeah. So the private events we'll shoot from skylifts, and we'll bring minivans, we'll bring telehandlers, we'll bring treehouse,
nice,
all that kind of stuff. So and then we'll tuck targets in various in between 2 trees, put them up high, put them down low, in front of water, behind water, all that stuff. So if we so you and I need to talk about that.
Yes.
Well, I remember the year
That's CRPS. It's really just another way to enjoy the sport and do it. Yeah. We hoped cost effectively, but people are blowing their budget with voodoos and high end chassis.
You're always gonna get the race, right? The racy guns and
and those are fun. I love them. But, whatever floats your boat, man. We don't judge, we don't discriminate. As long as you're having fun, that's the only thing that matters to us, and as long as you're doing it safely, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about the rifles. What about like accessories? Do you need to get bags or a bipod or what?
Yeah, that's something I need to know here.
Yeah, so we always talk about stuff like that. So at a minimum, you're going to need a bipod, right? That's the one thing that aids in frontal stability, unless you're like one of the Mapleseed guys like me that says I'm going to shoot it from a sling. And I've done a couple of matches where I'm just going to shoot, sling supported, but a bipod makes things easy. Usually a bipod and a rear bag is all you need. And again, if all you have is a bipod, there are so many guys in your squad that will lend you a rear bag and a pump pillow or a game changer or a tactical udder or whatever floats your boat. That's the one thing that we found. And that's the one comment that we always hear is that I was so intimidated when I signed up, but when I got there, everyone was super friendly, super helpful, and people were just, offering to lend me their whatever they needed, right?
Yeah, that's common, man.
Yeah. It's a community.
Rifle.
Yeah, it's a community of shooters. So so a bipod is I would say is a minimum, and a sling, because we always have what we call a Mapleseed stage, which is positional shooting. So either you're shooting prone with a sling, or you're shooting standing or seated or kneeling, because it's important to know how to shoot that way, because you don't always have a bipod with you. Right.
Hey, Francois has a question here. He says, is monopod on the rear okay?
Yeah. So there's 2 divisions. There's the production division and the open division. So if you're in the production division, you have a bipod and a rear bag. And that's it. Open division, you can go to town. The whole thing about the open division was to let the center fire guys bring their gear and practice and try things out that they wouldn't normally get a chance to do cost effectively at their matches. So we've had some interesting gaming, I guess, on the stages.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, 2 tripods, 3 tripods, whatever floats your boat.
Hey, sorry to change the subject. We have Mr. Bevins himself, Sean Bevins.
How's it going, Sean?
Hey, buddy. He's the smoke. He owns a Hammer Forge.
Yeah.
Make some badass smokers and barbecues and fire pits, man. Check them out; they're killer. But yeah, Sean says it best. Gunnies are the best.
We're looking for another sponsor of the show, Sean. Just saying.
Hey, yeah.
I don't think he wants to give us a $10,000 smoker.
You gotta feed that smoker,
Or
boys.
maybe he does.
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, sorry. Go on, Kurt. Sorry. About
That'd be a hell of a video this summer, wouldn't it?
that. So much meat.
No, I was just thinking about you guys talking about equipment and in the CRPS.
And you'd be surprised how many guys just get wrapped up in their equipment. And it's
I wouldn't.
I know none of the panel would get involved in that kind of useless conversation. The first thing I would recommend is if there's one thing you're going to focus, it's on your ammo. Find what shoots best and most reliably on your platform and stop there. If you want to get the next best thing, it's take that money and spend it on a Mapleseed course. Because if you don't have solid fundamentals, the guys that do are just going to eat your lunch.
Well, I wonder if this equipment thing is going to become that much more prolific now, like the equipment snobs and that, and not to knock all the new stuff that's coming out, but you look at all the manufacturers that are offering.
Awesome! It's awesome.
Oh my god!
Curtis Customs now has a bolt for rimfires.
I know.
Yes. Yeah,
and it makes sense.
That
like,
regular action, and you buy a different bolt. As I understand it, buy a different bolt, different barrel.
Oh, hashtag plug for EM Precision Rifles.
Yes,
you're
Curtis
Why not? Stocking dealer.
Exclusive.
So Shane, we should get talking. So what we're also doing this year is we're offering all the competitors a chance to try out all the cool hot rifles that are coming out. So we've had commitments from Stoker to bring their Tika T1X out. We've got a CZ457 on the line. MDT is bringing some of their chassis so people can try the difference between a non-MDT chassis rifle and an MDT chassis rifle, just to see the ergonomic difference. Because that's basically what it is. If I can make a bespoke fit for you, wouldn't you shoot better? Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so that's the goal. And then we're working on Bergara to bring one of their B14Rs and their BXR semi-autos. Those semi-autos look the business. It's going to be one of the better shooting semi.
Aren't Bergara's just a hopped up 1022?
But that's enough to make it from a off the shelf to a competitive rifle.
For a $400 to a $1,300, whatever.
Without spending $3,000, which most guys are spending. Right? So that's the thing. Yes, it's expensive, but it's cheaper than doing it yourself with factory, other manufacturer provided parts. But again, you can spend, I think there are a lot of hot, Savage Mark II is probably the best bolt action you can buy right now for the money, right? For $300, you've got a straight shooter that is going to shoot lights out most of the time, unless you have ejection issues. I know that there are ejection issues. After that, you're looking at the Ruger Precision Rimfire, which is again, a fully customizable, perfect fit for you rifle under $600. Then you've got the CZs, then you've got the Tikas, then you've got, and everything after that, like the Bergaras and the Deuces and the Voodoos.
So Rick, this is my factory Savage Mark II. It's a TR, which apparently puts me in open class as opposed to production.
It does, you gamer.
And I didn't know that when I bought it for $469.
But it doesn't matter. That's the people get hung up on this open versus production thing. Just shoot and see where you'll end up.
So well, that's true enough. So then I started thinking, well, if I'm going to shoot being open anyway, well, why don't I just be an open? But for a guy that's going to start with something like this, and the reason why I picked this rifle was because of the ergonomics. It already had a stock. I know I'm comfortable with this shape of stock. A lot of my centerfire bolt guns have this kind of stock. I put a 20 MOA rail on it because
that's minimum. That's minimum ticket price there. 20 MOA
come ups. So if a guy was just starting out with a rifle like this, I was thinking I'd take a Vortex Diamondback Tactical, slap that on the top.
4 to 16.
4 to 16. Yeah,
because it's got the most turret travel.
Exactly, that's the one I was thinking of. A little bit of a cheek riser on here, probably sort of strap on. But you're saying a bipod,
not the strap-ons you got in your.
No, we're not doing that. No,
just use the foam. Just use the Mapleseed way, the foam pad with a vet wrap on it.
Sure, yeah, strap on. But I wasn't going to drill and tap. I wasn't going to drill holes for one of those adjustable or cut this thing out and do some other stuff like that. I was just thinking just a plain old Velcro strap, cheek riser, just not getting me up to the right cheek height.
I mean, I'm running my CZ457 with foam and vet wrap on it.
Okay.
It's you never have to adjust it, man. Once you dial it in, it's good for 99.9% of all the positions you're shooting.
Yeah. I was thinking a bipod like a Harris. What do you think? Like a 9 to 12, or you think it's something shorter than that or longer, or
9 to 12, 6 to 9 is good. I mean, rarely will you need something higher than that. 6 to 9 is probably the sweet spot for most people. The only reason you want to go to an Atlas is when you shoot off the barrels, the surface gets shorter. So being able to flip your legs backward is good. And if you want to dial that in, put a cheap, 12-inch Arca rail on that thing. You get an Arca rail mounted bipod that you can slide forward and backward on it since you're open already.
Yeah, since I'm in open already. I'm not bitter about that at all.
You're big enough man to fit the open guy. You'll do well.
But as far as bags go, is there something a guy should be looking for in particular on a bag? Like if I'm already in open, I guess it doesn't matter what kind of bag.
Bags are bags for us. We don't as long as it fits within a 1 gallon tub of ice cream that's there. So I recommend if you're going to get one bag, get a Armageddon Gear Game Changer. Okay. So Red Star Target's a huge sponsor of ours. So first bag you get is a Game Changer, which accommodates most of the barricades that we'll shoot. You can shoot it down or up. I don't have it with me, but I'd show you. It basically looks like a fortune cookie. So you can drape it over.
When they called it a Game Changer, they weren't kidding around because that pretty much changed PRS from what I understand. It
conforms to a lot of the barricades we use and provides a support in most, if not all, of the barricades you'll encounter. After that, it's a pump pillow to build a solid support, like you put under your elbow or under your thigh or something, just to help you build a good stable position, just to absorb any spaces in your body where you'd have some flex. And then a rear bag, a small, 5-6 inch rear bag that you can make from 2 socks and a bag of sand or half a pound of rice.
Yeah, I hear you. So in open, you're not limited to one bag. You can have 2, 3.
You can bring the whole gosh darn tickle trunk if you want to, John.
Okay, so I've also been told that with PRS, there's some events where you're only allowed one bag, or you're allowed 2 bags, or you have to be able to carry the right bags. It's got to be strapped to your rifle. Anything like that on CRPS?
So some stages will say no bags, or will declare what bags are allowed. The key thing about us is you need to be able to carry every bag you're going to use. So you can't stage it on the barricade ahead of time. So if you want to carry 12 bags, go for it, but you got to start with 12 bags in your hands. Yeah,
that's for paint clips all over your person.
That's the overriding. So if you want to wear your strap on, go right ahead, man.
Sweet.
It's not a family show, right, guys? I'm so happy about the format of your show.
Yeah, Rick's got our sense of humor, that's for sure.
Bunch of Jews.
I'm cleaning my conversation up too. I don't know you guys that well.
Don't hold back, buddy.
Okay, so I think have we done with CRPS? Yeah,
so that's the first series we started. Let's go big. Let's go 100 to 300, and then NRL 22 is big in the States, right? Yeah. So NRL 22 is kind of like the short range version of that. So it's typically 100 yards and in.
Okay.
And most ranges will only have 100-yard range max. So that's where we started the Outlaw Rimfire Precision Series, which is kind of the short range version, kind of like the feeder system of CRPS. But it's not really a feeder system because it's actually technically harder because the target per yard is actually smaller than CRPS. We're actually more generous with CRPS target sizes because of the wind and the distance and the variability. So technically, if you're looking for a more precision-oriented match, the Outlaw Series is actually the more precise match.
Okay. That's one thing I'm trying to set up at our club here is an ORPS system. And that's basically, I figured that would be a great off-season CRPS type, sharpen your skills, keep you, like it's a perishable skill, just like you said.
It's actually a year round because what the issue, what we found with CRPS is we can only do 15 a year. That's the maximum, just because of the travel time and the fact that most people don't have that much time or willingness to spend that kind of time. Yeah. But in ORPS, your range could host it every month of the year for 12. We've got some ranges that do it. So Warren Field, Stittsville, and Sherwood Park in Alberta run almost 12 matches a year, so once every month. And we publish a course of fire. We have the points race, and we've got someone assigned to just stats now, which is nice. So that's
Nice.
which is again, if you knew how big our staff was, you'd be amazed about how much stuff we got done.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, boys, why don't we talk about like if especially if we're going to do an M14 clinic this spring, why don't we run a test match, CRPS match at my range this spring at the same time?
Is there drinking involved?
Oh,
Every-
No, we don't believe in that whatsoever.
Usually how it works at the 14 clinic is I pull in on like a Friday midday. I park the 30-foot camper in the camping area of Kurt's range. We've had as many as 3 campers and 3 or 4 tents set up. We have a fire pit that we tend to dig so we don't, burn down the range because that would be bad.
Yeah.
And then
It's
we
more
sit
or less
there.
a refugee camp.
There you go.
That's basically what it turns into. But I've usually got a generator, so there's at least a coffee pot in the morning.
Yes,
And then
very important.
generally speaking, the drinking starts after we're done shooting.
Perfect.
After we're done shooting, but I will not decline the fact that I have maybe grabbed something and walked 20 yards up to to the line and popped a few.
Well, listen, we're all adults, and
That's right.
and
So
one or two
anyways,
beers before we go and shoot a few rounds is not going to hurt anybody.
So
And we're-
last year we
we're
actually
not
did at a concert range, and I got up in the morning, and it was 6 a.m. and it was foggy, and I had a smoke, went back inside the camper, kind of went, I'm up for the day, got dressed, came outside, and it was dead calm. The sun was out. It was a beautiful, gorgeous day, and I started banging on campers, telling guys to get the hell out of the sack. It's time to shoot to 1400. It's gorgeous out. There's no wind. And yeah, it was between
Perfect storm.
about 6:30 till about 9 o'clock when the wind started picking up. It was an absolutely gorgeous day, perfect for shooting.
Doesn't
all of
happen
us.
often.
Oh, there was 4 of us on the line that morning.
Yeah. So Kurt, if you want to host an exhibition match without official CRPS sanctioning, I know a guy that could help you set that up.
Does he have 2 thumbs? 2 thumbs?
Two thumbs. Yeah. Who's got 2 thumbs? And one
That's what I'm
CRPS
thinking.
match?
This
Yeah,
thing
that's
is
not a problem.
this
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, again, our goal is just to spread the word, and and the cool part is we're seeing all of the provinces start up there. Also, we have Kim Adams in Saskatoon. He's running his rimfire matches at Saskatoon Wildlife, which is awesome. We got action rifle rimfire out in BC, and I know a couple of guys are starting their own up, which is perfect, right? That's all we want to do is again, our goal is to get more people shooting, and all I ask is that those guys think about how to incorporate more youth shooters into their program. Make it easy for them, either free or subsidized, loaner. Just get more folks into the sport, because that's the future of the sport, right? It's not old farts like us talking about how good it was in the old days. It's about the new guys making the
Old
next
farts
set of
like
new
you guys.
Boy, I tell you what, back
Fuck
in the
you and your
day,
bullheaded hair, Sean.
Yeah, uphill both ways in a snowstorm, Sean.
yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So that's ORPS. ORPS is basically the short range, and then we started a new steel challenge series called Rimfire Race Guns this year, which is completely different, which is just burning steel fast as you can, up close. 7
I'm
meters,
interested.
30 meters.
Yeah, that's Sean
funny,
all the way.
I had this idea for a 2-gun rimfire match, and I was thinking what it would be targets within 25 yards or closer to the line would be like 4-inch clays, and there'd be 10 close targets and 10 far targets, and far targets would be a maximum of 100 yards out, and at starting at around 35 yards or so, they'd be steel cutout gophers. There'd be 10 gophers and 10 clays, and the idea is you have 10 rounds for the clays, 10 rounds for the gophers, and you got everything is offhand shooting, so you're standing, there's no positions, no nothing else, maybe 2 or 3 shoot boxes, and you shoot and move, and that's that, right? But I thought that'd be a hell of a lot of fun. But how is that compared to what you're talking about, Rick?
So we're all steel. We don't, steel is easy. There's no reset. It's fast. We've got timers that say, hey, you took 3 seconds, you took 2 seconds, you took 1 second.
Makes it easy on a match director.
You can make it easy on a match director. And, the whole goal of that thing is to be able to publish that course of fire and have multiple rangers sign up for it in a month, so more guys can participate. where ORPS needs 100-yard range, rimfire race guns needs 25 meters, right? So most ranges will have a 25-meter bay. And then we'll publish a set like ORPS. We'll have a set 18 targets. We'll publish the course of fire. You'll vary the height, maybe 5 to 7 targets, and then your best 4 out of 5 times for that stage will count for your stage score, and then your total 5 stages is your final score. Wow. Just more ways to enjoy shooting cheaply and just getting out there enjoying the fresh air.
Nice.
It's fun.
Sounds like a party.
It's a blast, and the funny thing is you never know who's going to do really well at it until the day comes and the guy just blazes through. It's like, where did the hell did that come from?
And hopefully it's the guy with the cheapest, ugliest rifle.
That's it. Your 5.97 happened 2 weeks ago. Warren Field. We had a guy just signed up for the first one, and the guy just devastated everyone by like half the time of everybody else. Like, holy shit, where did that come from?
How do you like me now?
Yeah, the Steel Challenge superhero. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a question in the chat here that actually brings up the last point in our show notes for topics, and that is ammunition. So as Francis says, what 22 rounds would you use for 100 yards? My mined varmint rounds don't reach that accurately. Mind you, it comes out of a rascal. So we have on our show notes ammunition. What's typically best? What's okay? What to avoid? And what are your thoughts on ammunition?
That's the one thing. So when I was a big naysayer on the 1022, people said it shot like shit, right? That was a common thing. It shot like shit. What I'm discovering is you got to take the time to find out what ammo shoots in your rifle, not the make and model, but your specific rifle. So I've got 6 1022s in my safe as part of our loaner fleet, right? And probably 70% of them like the same ammo, but 30% of them don't like that ammo. They shoot better with something else. So I always start with CCI Blazer. Again, your mileage may vary. You'll start with Remington, bucket of bullets and go from there. I always say start with the cheapest, with what you can get locally, cheaply, and benchmark it. Try it from the most stable position you can and shoot for groups. Shoot 4 groups, 5 rounds each, and see how each sample will shoot. And then when you'll find a winner in there, right? You'll find a winner. Yeah. People are surprised that ammo is the cheapest way to improve your group sizes, right? So CCI, again, what I've learned, CCI Blazer, it's half the price of CCI Standard. I'll go to CCI Standard next. After that, because we're sponsored by Ely, I've got Ely ammo, stockpiled in my house. So we'll shoot Ely. We'll start with Ely Club, and then we'll work our way up through the rest of them. SK will work just as well, or Center X, whatever brand you want. All I'm saying is try out the ones you can get, and then figure out that cost performance ratio, right? Is that extra 1/16 of an inch important to you? Probably not. Mm-hmm. If an eighth of an inch, quarter of an inch, that's material when you get out to 300 yards, but 90% of our targets are 250 and in, so it doesn't really matter. 100 yards, it's less important because most of them that group well at 50 will group well at 100. But again, if you've got the ability, see what groups best at 100 and go from there. So start with the cheapest and pick. And I guess if you go to our YouTube channel, Project Mapleseed, I think we've got a video. I know we've got a video because I produced it. It's how to write ammo. and then go from there. So there's a whole bunch of Project Mapleseed stuff on getting set up scopes and ammos and getting the right cheek weld and aligning your rifle, the basic stuff like that. But ammo is one of those things that I can't tell you what the good ammo is because I don't have your rifle. It's really down to the make and model. So I've got one rifle that shoots lights out with CCI Blazer, and one won't work well until I get the Ely Club. So
I found that Blazer is surprisingly good in a lot of rifles. It
is phenomenal. I love it. It's my first. Usually I don't have to go from there because I only need a certain amount of accuracy, right? Mm-hmm. When I'm because again I know what sizes of targets we put at 300 yards, and it's within the error bandwidth of the group size. Yeah. Right. So
John, that's kind of like our blue box federal sort of thing, right? Like we pound several rounds of blue box federal through any given rifle, and that's kind of what you were talking about earlier, Rick, about your benchmark.
It's so I say find what you can get locally, because there's no point having to mail order if you can get if you can get like 5 or 6 different ones, and again go from the cheapest to what you want to pay for, what you're willing to spend, and then go from there, and then out of that shoot your 4 groups again from the most stable position you can, and then take one. That's it.
Cool.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Man, we can talk to you about like this entire topic for the next 4 hours.
Aguila, we love Aguila. Aguila standard velocity is what we had. Odell Engineering was a big sponsor, Project Mapleseed. Aguila and them have parted ways, I think, so we're not getting them anymore. But that was our go-to loaner ammo, man.
Really?
Yeah, we made so many riflemen with that ammo.
Our local store TNT. Well, TNT just brought a bunch in, and I picked up 2 bricks of 500 from them, man. And it was cheap. It was like $30 for 500 or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah, that exact stuff.
Typically, the mid range is you go for Aguila standard, or you go for CCI standard velocity. One of those two should work well. If that doesn't work, go down to CCI Blazer. And then I'm not familiar with the federal. We don't have a lot of donated federal, so I don't have a ton of experience.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
I've extreme range out.
Federal American Eagle rimfire ammunition myself.
Yeah.
CCI Blazer is probably my second favorite, but everybody's got their preference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Mapleseed, you don't need match ammo. You can if it gives you confidence, because that confidence is important. Yep. But I qualified with a Marlin 795 with a fixed 4 power scope, and I think I was shooting what was it, M22 ammo.
Oh, right? That stuff is horrible.
I know, but I'm saying it's good enough. It's good enough to get you there, right?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not shooting for score. I'm just shooting for a score.
Okay. Off-ball question, Rick. Out of all the Mapleseeds that you've taught or been a part of, what's the weirdest gun you've seen someone show up and shoot and be successful with?
Probably one you have, Sean.
Oh, here we go. So this in the people that were there. So this was Grand Cache, Alberta, our first year. I think his name was Michael. He brought his daughter Olivia with him. He had a Bruno single Bruno iron sights with a 5-round clip. Okay.
So that would have been basically the precursor to the CZ452 then.
So he had a bolt action with iron sights and a 5-round mag. 1 5-round mag, and he qualified with a 215. Wow. Reloading his 5-round mag.
Wow.
Good for him.
He didn't single load after the first 5? I don't understand.
I don't know. And it's like this guy.
He doesn't remember that, but he remembers Olivia.
Well, that was don't be a perv. She was like 9 or 10. Well,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
the point was we had like we had 7 youth shooters that day.
Yeah,
and it was cool because we had. So this is the program we had. So we were developing our youth program. So we took the 6 or 7 youths away. We taught them the fundamentals, and we got them to critique the adults on the line about their positions.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's why it stuck in my mind.
Shut up, Dad. This is what this is.
Yeah, Dad. Listen to me for once, Dad.
Doing wrong. And they all shot lights out. We had clays down there. They were shooting single shot rascals. So that's the most hardcore was a 5-round clip. Again, I'm supposed to say magazine, but it's a 5-round clip. It's iron sights, bolt action, 215.
Unreal.
Wow.
Unreal. He was calm. He was confident. Just shot. Again, he didn't get all 10 rounds off, but the rounds he got off counted, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I say. You can't miss fast enough to score a rifleman.
Yeah.
Right? So just take your time, apply the process, and then worry about speeding the whole process up, right? Not the last 5 shots. No mag dumps. Mag dumps never work for anybody unless you're in a firefight.
Well, and it's funny, but you hear that a lot of different, not just Mapleseed, but like you take some pistol training or some carbine training or CQB or whatever else.
Yes.
And they always start you with the fundamentals of you want to be able to make your hits. Once you're accurate, you start speeding things up. And that's a fairly common thing. I think across any of the shooting sports is first you make your hits and then you start working about your time between your shots, right? And then that's how you improve, right? And
when you start making your misses, then you get back to your hits. Yep, for sure.
Get good, then get fast.
There you go.
Oh boy. So I think we pretty much, gleaned all the information that's readily available to your mind, Rick.
I think so, man.
Next up, we have news,
awesome.
and I just wrote down COVID on the show notes because I don't know that there's any other news right now.
No, there's
is
no
there?
impact on Mapleseed or CRPS or ORPS for COVID. No, didn't change our lives at all. Business as usual.
Right, yeah. Just get the fuck out and shoot.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's the reason I'm late. Like, we've been going stir crazy here. And so we decided to take a drive in the truck and have a drive-in movie night. So we downloaded some movies on the iPad and then drove out to a farmer's field, watched the sunset, watched Spider-Man, whatever. And
Did you get permission on that land first?
actually, I do know the owner. So, yes. But yeah, so sorry for being late, guys. I just want to say that. But
No, man, you got
family first, and you know, happy wife, happy life. And when she says, "I got to get the fuck out of here," it's okay, honey. Let's go. But yeah, so COVID's crazy right now. Like, even for me, like, they've completely shut us down for travel, for non-essential travel, right? Like, we can still go to dealerships if we want, but basically it's only emergency situations, right? So crazy times, man. Even driving back, like, we took the long way around tonight, and Regina's a ghost town right now. It's unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it. I was going to work on Friday morning, and usually, you know, morning rush hour traffic, I usually plan for 30 minutes to drive to work. It's only 10 kilometers, but it takes 30 minutes because people are stupid. And I think I made it to work in under 15 minutes, you know, so just because there wasn't that many vehicles. And on the flip side of that, there was a lot more vehicles than you'd think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID. Stay safe, guys. If you're listening, wash your hands. Don't go to crowded places. Don't be an idiot.
Stay home.
At the same rate, though, you can't live in fear. That's
No. The old
God
saying,
damn
keep
it.
calm and carry on.
You know,
Kind
stupid
of
people
applies.
do stupid things.
Yeah.
Most of us are not stupid.
Well, so
I don't think.
here's a fun Regina story. So on the way back, we drove down Dudney on the strip to see all the bars and stuff, just to see how it's like. Looks like a zombie
Are the
apocalypse, right?
prostitutes still
Well,
out?
Well, fun fact. Yes, they are. At the
Them girls got to make a
McDonald's.
living, man.
Well, yeah,
true.
they're working gals. You know, like, you can't. They're not going to shut down
How
for
do you give
anybody.
virtual handies? Can
Yeah.
you do
Say
that?
hi to Charlene for me.
Yeah.
Well, Gallon's been here, so we all wash our hands anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no kidding.
You
Gosh,
guys,
my
you
ears.
guys are terrible. You guys are terrible.
anyway, but so at the Great John, you know where the Great Canadian Bagel used to be, whatever it's called now, on Broad and Dudney. Anyway, there were like 20 old bastards sitting in there drinking coffee. Like, you stupid bastards. Like, go
Fuck it,
home.
it's time to go anyways, boys.
Yeah, I need a coffee and a fucking flaxseed
I need
bagel.
a coffee and a
Shit at night.
COVID.
Anyway, just be smart, guys. You know, don't be retards. Don't go full retard, right? Which kind of brings me to the naming and shaming segment that we usually do. The human who doesn't suck. Whoever put this in is key on all firearm supply businesses who are doing their best to keep up with demand, especially with the shit dollar we got right now and the run on all this stuff. It's like guys are scrambling. Like Daryl at TNT, you know, John, you got in on that American Eagle deal that he gave you, and you know, but prices are going through the roof,
But they're doing their best to keep them down for as long as they can, too.
I don't know how they put up with those new guys. Just
Wow, that's another thing, too.
that's
know,
that's the most frustrating part.
I know nothing about this stuff, and actually I used to be against it, but now I think I need a firearm and some ammunition. Can I have it now? How about now?
Yeah.
What do you mean I got to wait a week? No, I want it now.
wait, I gotta wait 6 months. I need a license. Wow, maybe it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Maybe it is pretty hard to get a gun in this country.
I think the problem is it's hard to get a legal gun in this country.
That's it. That is it. That is it, man.
But then also, Dingleberry of the week is I'm gonna change it. Criminals are criminals. They're gonna be criminals no matter what. But
True.
still the mainstream media 24/7 coverage of this disease. It's like,
Oh my God. Enough already. Yeah.
and people with anxiety are losing their minds.
For sure.
Like,
Kidding.
like this is unbelievable. Like,
Well, and you
anyway.
think of the kids too, and I've been if you can imagine, I've been fucking texting with my kids, yeah, like, buddy, I miss you.
Yeah.
my daughter down the street. Come on over, sweetie. Like, I miss you. Let's hang out. Let's do some shit. Mom and I are staying in. Fuck. Really? Buddy, we're gonna come in, we'll stay in and watch some movies, have some snacks, get fat, do stupid shit inside the house. Mom says not to leave the house. All right. but that's what's going on. And
it's that beer it could have the COVID in it.
Yeah, I know. No, I watch that son of a bitch regularly, man. Aside from the select things that I keep in here,
once
beer oil,
whether it needs it or not.
Everything in there. That's right. You never know what I'm going to pull out of that son of a bitch, boys. It's a surprise.
That's right.
And it might be semi-automatic, even. Okay,
Well,
I'm done for a while.
Right on.
Honorable mention, you said?
Well, I kind of gave them the main mention.
No, I think that's definitely not.
Well, listen, when I put Dingleberry of the Week in tonight, and I said criminals, I've just been going by the sharp rise of property thefts going on, and what I've heard is Northern Alberta, Edmonton area, stuff like that. I'm sure there are lots of other places around Canada that are seeing the same thing, but the Edmonton area is what I'd heard lately. People are getting desperate. People are getting stupid. And there are some people taking advantage of those people who are shutting in and scared to come out and all that kind of stuff. There's always cocksuckers that will take advantage of scared people or non-aggressive people, however you want to describe it. But I don't know.
Cheap. Yeah. Exactly.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do the ad read here.
Sure.
So, what can you do to keep your guns? Well, you can join our national firearms associations like the CCFR, the CSSA. A membership to the CCFR costs $40. It's good for the year. Buy a hat, shirt, sticker. Because now everything helps, and now with everyone locked in, government is not doing their thing. Now they're gonna probably start diverting their attention back to us eventually, right? It's gonna happen if shit starts to get better. But anyway, here's a quick shout out from the CCFR. Okay, we're back.
There's got to be some way we can play that on the live stream.
I'll figure it out. I'm not sure how to Sean. Is there a button that we can add it in here, Rick? Do you know?
It's called a recording.
Oh yeah, that's for the live stream. I added all this shit in.
You got your choice of 8-track, cassette, CD, MP3.
Holy fuck, Ricky!
I know. I'm telling you mine. Next week, running water and fire, boys.
Round wheels, yes.
Round wheels.
What?
Do we got shout outs, Kurt?
You know what? For me, it's Extreme Range Outfitters. They're wrestling right now with the decision to remain open or to go to reduced hours because of COVID-19. The guys that work there all have kids, and they are worried about supply. They're worried about supplying their customers through all this bullshit, despite the fact that they have kids. And I talked about this a little bit earlier. Ben has 5 children, and his wife has said to him that, are you thinking about closing the store through all this stuff? And the guy is worried about the customers. And like, Ben, you got to at least... Absolutely. You have your family to take care of. Too, right? But it goes to show how he feels about his customers, how he feels, the sense of duty that he feels. Because like since he opened, he's got his customer base has grown so much. He's good people. They're good people there. They offer a lot of good stuff, and man, that's important in a community. And he's community minded. That's the thing. So, my shout out to Ben, salt of the earth guy. concerned about his customers, but man, it's family first. Customers will get by. We'll all do our thing, even if we gotta go. Even if you have to go mail order or drop it out on the curb and have me standing there as security or something.
Yeah.
I'll only take 30%. That's it.
You got package might disappear.
That's a sure sign of the apocalypse, Kurt.
Listen. I can't even take a damn jujube from 7-Eleven for fear of being struck down. I'm a firm believer in karma, so no, he's okay that way.
Karma's a bitch.
Absolutely, and she's visited lots of times.
Yeah.
John, who do you got?
I'm gonna have to shout out TNT this week. I tell you, they've really done me a couple of solids this week. Ammo deals and just being open. A lot of businesses are closing. They're keeping the doors open and keeping their local customers fed, and it's good to see the amount of traffic going through there, because I know in the weeks previous to this, the traffic maybe hasn't been as heavy going through the store. And I'm not going to say they're maximizing on the traffic that's coming in, but they're definitely doing a brisk business. It's nice to see that. And I'm glad that they're still open and still ordering product and trying to get product to customers. So shout out to TNT on that one. Yeah.
And I called them at 8 a.m. before they were open, and Daryl answered.
You're such an asshole, Sean.
I completely forgot that they opened at 9 on Thursdays, and he answered. Yeah, I know I'm such a dick, but Rick, who are you going to shout out?
I mean, for me, it's all the guys I've met across the country, man. Stay safe, take care of your families, don't spread COVID. It's for real. It's not about you. It's about the loved ones that are immune compromised. I know in my house there's like 2 that are immune compromised. I've got my older mother. Just stay home. It's just wait it out. There's no rush. There's nothing out there that you need to take care of. CRPS and Mapleseed have postponed ours until things calm down and we know more about it. And I'm wearing my Extreme Range Outfitters hat because Ben is an awesome guy. I didn't know that Kurt knew Ben, but he's done a lot. And all of our sponsors, our goal is to, it's a fun sport. It's a fun sport. And when things settle down, we're looking forward to hitting it hard and spreading the love.
Sure. Well, and I think it'll bring people together that much more.
And does that mean I get to see all you 3 sparkling individuals
you
this summer?
Damn straight, boy.
All 300 pounds of this boy is going to be there.
I'm not feeling well.
He's already tasting the rum we're going to be pouring down his throat.
Yeah.
So I'm
get ready for some hugs, man.
So you look so different. You look so different from your grinder profile, Kurt.
I know. Things have changed.
Sean looks the same.
I'm beard fluid.
There you go.
It's gonna be a fun match when Rick comes up, eh?
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. I can't wait.
Nice. Right on. I've actually got 3 this time. I've got John for hooking me up with that trickler. RCBS manual powder trickler. Thanks, buddy. He saved me $20. I've got Daryl at TNT for hooking me up with that 22 ammo. I bought a bunch of CCI mini mags and that a couple bricks of Aguila from him. And then Shane and Steve at EM Precision for still sponsoring this shit show.
At least we mentioned them once.
Such a bad business decision.
Whoa.
You shut it, Rick. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. These guys are top notch.
Salt of the earth, right, Rick?
Salted earth. Salted earth or salted earth?
I think we're salted.
Maybe the former.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll let the viewers decide.
There you go.
Anyway. Well, I think that's about it. Apologies to Wes Stevens. We ran out of time again this week.
Oh, man.
Sorry about it. Maybe next week.
Wes.
Are we
This is the bomb. Bomb.com.
Yeah. Well, if he'll ever come on our show. We'll figure it out. And big shout out to Danny
from him.
Huh?
Has Ceases heard from him since we advised them?
That was
He's disappeared.
Confidential
He's gone.
agreement. Yeah. Oh, and we got to get John Gormley back on too.
Yeah, for sure.
So we forgot about that. Not forgot. It's just I've had nightmares ever since. But
Yeah.
and then let's go. Big shout out to Danny Joe again, letting us use his music unlicensed. Awesome, saving us money. Thanks, buddy.
Hey.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Thank you guys
Thanks,
for
Rick.
having me on. It was fun, man. I
You
enjoyed it.
betcha. Thanks for coming, Rick.
I'll have to have you
Yeah.
again, Rick, because I don't think we covered enough information this time around.
God.
Maybe when you're out this way, hopefully this summer doing Mapleseed or CRPS or something, we'll have
For
a
sure.
we'll have a group
Yeah.
chat again or something.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man.
Maybe do a live stream from the campfire.
That would be a bad idea. That would be a bad idea, Sean.
Fire
That would be
Well, early.
the best show ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
we just-
It's over
Right
now,
when
but
we
listen
start
to the recording. Oh God,
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me come on late.
Yeah. Stay safe. Take care, guys.
All
Yeah.
right, you too.